In this video, you will learn how to empower your users to upload files directly to your knowledge base for personalized chat experiences. In this step-by-step tutorial, we'll guide you through creating a custom action block and writing an extension function to enable file uploads. Why extensions? Extensions allow you to bring customized applications or functions to your Voiceflow chatbot to enhance the user experience. Some applications, such as file upload, payment, etc., are not supported by native Voiceflow's JavaScript block or function block. In this case, we have to use extensions. If we have extensions in our chatbot, we will need to use a local host or website to debug or implement the extension, which we will show you later in this video. On this Voiceflow canvas, we will build a demo chatbot from scratch zero, showing you step-by-step how to upload the files to knowledge base. You may follow along to build yours. First, let us drag a set block and drop it on the canvas. We will set a variable containing the Voiceflow API key, which will be passed to a custom action block. In the variable list, we select the variable VF API key. If you do not have one, you can create a new variable to store the API key. Now we are going to get the Voiceflow API key for this project. Let us go back to the menu page and click on the integration icon. We can see the API key. The primary key is what we need. Click the button to copy the API key. Previously, Voiceflow had multiple API keys, and now it has been simplified to use one API key for different purposes. Let us return to the canvas. In the past, I preferred to use a JavaScript block to define variables, which is more flexible and powerful. But now, I think the set block can do many basic settings just as good. We are going to paste the API key here. It is better to use quotes, and put the key as a string in between the quotes. If not, you may see a warning sign. Next, we put a message block on the canvas. A few days ago, Voiceflow just replaced the text block with the message block. We enter a message to tell the user that he is expected to upload his files. The new message block also has the editor where we can style the words in bold, italic, underscore, strike through, embedding a link, etc., just like that in the old text block. Let me connect the start with the set block, and the set block with the message block. Next, we will use a custom action block. The custom action block is very powerful. I like it very much. Basically, you can implement a lot of useful customized applications, and pass data as you want. This gives you a lot of flexibility. In this demo, we will use it to implement an extension to allow the user to upload his files to the knowledge base. We need to enter the name of the type, which will be passed to our extension. We enter ext_kb upload. Of course, you can name it whatever you want as long as the extension can receive it. We will pass some parameters in the action body to the extension. There are two types of data we can pass, JSON and text. In this demo, we will pass the data in JSON format. The data will be passed in the payload of the trace, which can be retrieved by the extension using the payload attribute. The first parameter is API key. This parameter is required. As you can imagine, without the key, we cannot open the treasury box. We will also validate it in our extension to ensure the API key has been passed. And we use the variable VF API key because we have saved the API key using the set block. The second parameter is max chunk size, and we enter the value of 1000 tokens, which is also the default value. The chunk size is usually between 500 and 1500. Larger chunks means less chunks retrieved. Smaller chunk size has narrower context, faster response and fewer tokens consumed, but has greater risk of less accurate answers. This parameter is not required. If not defined, the default value will be used. We will talk about it in the extension. The third parameter is tags. It is optional, and for now, we put an empty string. If needed, we can put an array of tag labels which can be attached to the KB document and be used to filter document eligibility in query retrieval. The tags are very important, especially when you build a relative complicated chatbot applications. I will show you at the later part of this tutorial, and will make another video to show how to use the tags to increase the accuracy of knowledge base. The fourth parameter is overwrite. It is also optional. We can specify whether to overwrite the existing data. If you enter true, that means you want to overwrite. Here we use true to overwrite the existing file with the same name, otherwise the knowledge base can be filled up quickly if we keep the same files over the time. In the paths, we enter complete as the default path. This path is where the logic goes when the extension is finished. Next, if the stop on action is enabled, the chatbot will wait until the extension is finished. Otherwise, the logic will continue to the next step without waiting for the user to finish the file uploading. Make sure to turn on this stop on action. Do not forget to connect these two blocks so the logic flow can continue. Finally, we use a message block to let the user know his file has been uploaded. So far, we have built a simple demo chatbot. It can greet the user and request to upload a file. The custom action block can execute an extension to allow user to select a file to upload. Then the message is sent to let the user know the file has been uploaded. If we check our knowledge base, we should see an empty knowledge base as we have not uploaded any files yet. Let us go to the menu, and click the knowledge, and we do see it is empty. There are no data sources so far. Let us go back to the Voiceflow canvas. In the next part, we will be focused on the extension. We will use localhost as demo. In the www folder, I have created a folder called KB File Upload. It is empty. We are going to add a new JavaScript file with the name of extension, kbupload.js. We will need to import it to the index.html file. I will show you later. So, in the first line, we need to export the object. We define a const variable kbupload extension. In this object, we will write the code to let the user upload his file and save the file data to the knowledge base. In Voiceflow, it is very convenient for us to implement customized extensions. This makes it very powerful. I think this is one of the reasons why so many people love it. In this object, we will also have several key value pairs. First, we add name with kbupload. The second is the type. There are two types of extensions, response and effects. Response type renders a custom widget or extension. Effects do not render an extension. Here, we are using response to render the file upload extension. Next, we will check if the trace type matches the extension name ext_kbupload. Recall in the custom action block, we have entered the name ext_kbupload. This name will be passed in the trace. We need to check if the names match here. So it is important to ensure you enter the same name. Otherwise, they do not match and we will have a false boolean. The next part is the render, where our code is going to implement the file upload extension. We have two arguments, trace and element. We will extract the parameters from the trace payload. In the custom action block, we have entered four parameters, VFAPI key, max chunk size, tags, and overwrite. They are passed in the trace payload, and we can extract them and use them in the extension. First, we are going to get the VF API key. We define a const variable named as API key. We use the trace payload to get the VF API key, and save it in the const variable. Otherwise, we set the API key as null. The second is max chunk size. As we said before, it is a trade-off. You can save token usage, but may lose a little accuracy. You may set a value as desired. We do the same thing to extract it from the trace payload. If not, we set a default value, 1000. The third one is tags. If there is any value passed by the custom action block, we can extract it from the trace payload. Otherwise, we set it as an empty string. Tags are very important if you want to increase the accuracy of knowledge base. We will talk about it in the later part of this video. The last parameter is overwrite. If the custom action block has a Boolean value, we can extract it from the trace payload. Otherwise, we set a false value to not overwrite the file data. After we extract the parameters from the trace payload, we check if there is an API key. Without an API key, we cannot open the treasury box, and the code will do nothing. If we have the API key, we can implement the following code. The first step is to define a container. We use the document method to create an element. This will be shown in the chatbot dialog window, so the user can click to upload files. This container will need to be appended to the element, which is a global variable provided by Voiceflow. We will do this step at the end after we finish all the coding. Next, we add a file input in the container. In order to do this, we use the inner HTML method. The input has type of file because we are going to upload a file to the knowledge base. The accepted files are in text, PDF or doc. These file types are defined by Voiceflow. If you change to other files, it won't work. I tried to add other file type, for instance, CSV file, and it caused errors because Voiceflow does not accept it. So let us stick to these file types. After these elements are created, we are going to write code to select the input element. We use a const variable file input to save the selected element. From the container, we use the query selector method to select the input with the type of file. The information of the file and its data will be saved in the const variable, and we will use it later to extract the data we need. After the user select the file, we will add the event listener to the file input. We are going to listen to the event of change. This means that when there is any change, it will trigger the callback function. In the callback function, we define a const variable file to store the file uploaded by the user. The file input variable is an array of files, and we are going to extract the first component and save it in the file variable. Next, we are going to define a const variable form data to store an object, which is created by the new keyword. We will append the file to the form data, and pass the form data to Voiceflow knowledge base. We will make an API call and save the file data on the knowledge base. Now let us use the form data's append method to append a name of file, which is a string, and the value of file, which has been extracted from the file input. Before we make an API call, we define a const URL, which is the URL where the API call goes. It is a long URL, so I have pasted it here. Let me explain it to you. This URL is Voiceflow's API address with v3 alpha version and knowledge base docs upload URL. In the URL, we pass the tags using the tags variable, which contains the tags we have extracted from the trace payload. We also pass the other two parameters, the max chunk size and the overwrite using their individual variables that contains the values extracted from the trace payload. We are going to make an API call in the try-catch block. If there is any error during making the API calls, we want to catch the error. In the catch block, we have the error argument. We want to know what has gone wrong, and the error contains the information we need. This is especially important for debugging. We use console.error method to show the error by passing the error as the argument. This method writes an error message to the console, and the console is useful for testing and debugging purposes. After handling the error, we are going to write code to make API calls in the try block. We use the fetch function and pass two arguments. One of them is the URL that we have defined previously. The other one is an object containing the request information. For the method, we use post because we are going to write the data onto the knowledge base. In the headers, we have the accept value of application/JSON, which indicates the data is in the JSON format. We also need to pass the authorization value using the API key variable to open the treasury box. The next step is to pass the file data. In the body, we enter the form data variable, which contains the file data uploaded by the user. As you can see, the form data has been defined previously. This is the typical fetch function where we pass the URL and request information in order to make API calls. The function will return a response value. After the promise is returned, we call the method then. When the promise is resolved, we have the response value. The response will contain the useful information returned from the knowledge base. It tells the status of the API call. we will use an arrow function. And in the arrow function, we check if the response is OK. If the response status is OK, we will call the response's JSON method to get the data in JSON format and return it. If the response is not OK, we will throw an error object using the new keyword and pass the string message, upload failed plus response.status text, which shows the status of the response. When this happens, the program will exit and throw the error. The error will be captured in the catch block to show the error message to the user. As we have the result of the response data in JSON format, we will pull the data from the extension and send it back to Voiceflow. Again, we use the then method, and the result is the argument. We use another arrow function to transfer the data back to Voiceflow. After uploading the file to the knowledge base, we will get the document ID of the file returned by Voiceflow, and we can show it to the user or save it for later use. We will use Voiceflow Chat's interact method to pass the document ID via payload. In the custom block, we already have specified the default path as complete. Here, in the extension, it should be consistent. So, in the type, we enter complete. We will pass the document ID data using the payload. Payload is very useful to transfer data. We can use last event's payload method to extract the data. In the payload, we have the ID, which contains the value of the document ID that we extract from the results data. Later in the Voiceflow, we can use the last event.payload.id to get the document ID. If the document ID is null, we will give it a default value 0. So far, we have completed the code to let the user upload his file, and we use the fetch function to make API calls to the knowledge base. The knowledge base returns the data with the document ID, and we pass the document ID in the payload to the Voiceflow. This is typical process using an extension to finish a specific task and pass the data back to Voiceflow. In the beginning, we have created a file upload container with the file input. In order to show it to the user via Voiceflow, we need to append it to the global variable element. We can use the element's append child method, and the argument of the KB file upload container. The whole container and the file input will be shown in the chat window, allowing the user to upload his file to the knowledge base. Now, we have done our extension coding. In this extension, we have created a file input element to allow the user to click and upload a file, and we use the fetch function to make API calls to post the file data to the knowledge base. Next, we are going to import this extension to the index.html file. We add a new file and name it as index.html. Here, I will write a very simple HTML just for demo. In the first line, we specify the document type as HTML. We have the opening and closing tags of HTML. In the head, we just simply enter chatbot demo. In the body, we have AP element, this is Voiceflow Chatbot demo. Next, we will need the integration code from Voiceflow. Let us go back to the canvas. In order to get the integration code, we need to publish our chatbot. We can click on the Publish button, and also this Publish button. Click the Embed Widget button. We see the code snippet. We make a copy of this JavaScript code, and need to paste it before the closing body tag. This code includes the Voiceflow runtime URL, which is needed for the implementation of the chatbot. It also has the project ID and version ID, and other information. Let us paste the code snippet on the index.html file. In order to import the extension, we need to change the script type to module. If you do not make the change, the code won't work. We also need to import the extension from its location. We use the keyword import and the extension's name. We need to specify the location of the extension. I have put the extension file and the index.html file in the same folder. Let me make a copy of the file name of the extension. Paste the name and add JS at the end. In the Voiceflow chat load function, we can see the project ID of our chatbot, which is assigned by Voiceflow and used to verify the project. There is also general runtime URL, and the version ID is production. Under the version ID, we will add render to embed the chatbot to the localhost website in the body. The render has an object which contains mode and target. We specify the mode as embed because we are going to embed the chatbot onto the website. You can embed the chatbot to a specific target element of your website, such as a specific section. Here I like to embed it in the body so the chat window will occupy the entire web page, which looks to me large with a better view. Next, we are going to add our extension name to the extensions array to let Voiceflow know and implement our extension. In the assistant, we have an object where we can put our extensions. The extensions array can have many extensions. We can put our extension here. If you have multiple extensions, of course, just enter their names in the extension array, so that all the extensions will be implemented. At this point, we have finished the extension code, and imported the extension to the index.html file. We can embed the extension with the local host website. Let us go to the browser to test it. In the browser address, we enter the local host, the name of the folder, and index.html. We should see the chat window. Instead, we do not see the chat window. The web page only shows the words. It looks like the chat bot is not integrated. In order to check what is going on, we can right-click the mouse and select Inspect. In the console, we can see there is an error, which says expected embedded but received a wrong word. Aha! I misspelled the word embedded. Let us go back to the index file and correct the word. Let me add a letter D in the embedded word. Let's refresh the browser to reload the page. We can see the error has gone, and the chat window has appeared. Click the button to start a new chat. But somehow, we still do not see the file upload, and it has stopped. We do not see other errors. Let me check the code again. I am going to add a semicolon. Sometime we forgot that, and caused code not to run. Let us refresh and hard reload the web page. Click the End Chat and start new chat. But there may be a bug which stopped the chatbot. It looks okay for our code. We may go to Voiceflow Canvas to check there. On the Voiceflow Canvas, we have the chatbot. Let us click the Run button to run a test. Click the Run Test button to continue. Do not forget to turn on the debug mode when running a test. As you can see, the chatbot is in a debug mode, and we can see the information of variables. It shows an error passing as JSON with the body in the custom action. This is very useful as the error message tells you what has gone wrong. When testing the chatbot, we need the information. On the top, there is a settings icon, which you can click to turn on or off the debug mode. As you can see, I have turned on the debug mode. As the error shows here, we have an error in the body of the custom action. We can go back to the canvas and fix the error. On the custom action block, we go to the action body where we have passed the parameters to the extension. It looks that I have entered an extra colon, and let me remove it. After fixing the bug, do not forget to click the icon to publish the chatbot again. As we have already embedded the chatbot to our local host website, we can skip the embed step. Let us go back to the web page and click to refresh it to reload the web page. We start a new chat, and bingo! We have the file upload now. Let us test how it works. Click to select a file. This is a data file we used in one of our previous videos. And the bot says, your file has been uploaded. We are going to see if the file is in the knowledge base. On the Voiceflow canvas, we click the button to go back to the menu page, and click on the knowledge button. We see the file has been successfully uploaded, and the data chunks generated by the Voiceflow. This indicates that the extension works, and the user can upload a file to save it in the knowledge base. Voiceflow can generate the data chunks for the uploaded file. This is perfect. Let me delete the file from the knowledge base. In the next section, we will show you how to modify the code to allow the user to upload multiple files to the knowledge base. In the extension file, we first add the multiple attribute to the input of the container. With the attribute, the file input will allow multiple file uploading. In the uploaded file array, there will be multiple files selected by the user. Let us change the name to selected files, and delete the 0. The selected files have multiple files, and we will use a for loop to loop through all the elements just like what we have done previously for one single file. First, let us move the URL to the position under the selected files variable, which is out of the for loop, because this URL is common for all the file elements. We are going to loop through all the files using a for loop. In the for loop, we have the const variable selected file for individual file element of the selected files array. The form data needs to append the individual file element, which is the selected file. Let us change the file to the selected file. The fetch function remains same. We still pass the form data variable in the body. All other code can be same. Lastly, do not forget the closing curly brace of the for loop. Let us add it at the end. At this point, we have modified the code to allow the user to upload multiple files and save them to the knowledge base. We are going to test it out. On the localhost web page, it is better to refresh and reload the web page because we have modified the code. This will load the newly changed extension to the web page, so we will see the difference. After the page is reloaded, let us click to upload the files. This time, we should be able to select multiple files. In this folder, I have the data files in different format, doc, PDF, and text. They should be accepted as we have the attribute in our code. Let us select all the 3 files. As we can see, we have the 3 file names on the box. Let us click the Open button. Now let us check the knowledge base. We can see all the 3 files in the knowledge base. Voiceflow has generated data chunks for each of them. We can check here. This works fantastically. The extension allows the user to upload multiple files to the knowledge base, and the files can be in different formats. That is really good. In the following, we will talk about the tags, which are important for the accuracy of knowledge base. Before that, let us delete all the files and remain an empty knowledge base for later use. We will use different tags to label the uploaded files so the answer will be provided according to the tags. In this way, we can increase the accuracy and enhance the user experience. As shown previously, we have 3 files in different formats. Let us select the text file and make a copy. Now we see the file with the name of copy. If we click the file and open it, we can see the salary of John is $75,000. Let us change it to $95,000, which is different from the original one. We can save the change. If we ask how much is John's salary, which number should the bot give us, 75,000 or 95,000? What is your answer? It is really interesting. Let us figure this out in the following. On the Voiceflow canvas, we go to the custom action block. We have tags as empty string because we did not add any tags. If we want to distinguish the uploaded files, we can add a tag to a file when we upload it and save it to the knowledge base. We are going to upload the original file in our folder. We suppose this is uploaded by user1, so we add the tag of user1. Of course, you can define your own tags as desired. For example, a long string with hashed ID, etc. After making the change, do not forget to publish the chatbot. Now on the chat window, we click to upload a file. We can see the original file and the copy. But they have different values of John's salaries. Let us upload the original file this time. We will upload the copy later. As we can see, the file has been uploaded. We are going to upload the copy. On the custom action block, we change the tag to user2. So these 2 files have different tags on the knowledge base. Again, you can choose whatever strings you want for the tags, as long as they are different. Do not forget to publish the chatbot, otherwise you will still use the old version. Back to the chat window, we start a new chat. Click to upload a file. This time, we choose the copy, which has the value of 95,000 of John's salary. This is different from the original 75,000. They will be in the same knowledge base. Let us see how to use tags to get accurate answers. We are going to check the knowledge base to make sure we have the 2 files uploaded. Let us click the knowledge, and we can see two files in the knowledge base. One is the original file, and the other is the copy. If we click to see the chunks, we can see John's salary is 95,000 in the copy file. In the original file, the data chunks show John's salary is 75,000. Now, the question is, if we ask, what is John's salary? What answer will the chatbot give us? It brings the importance of the tags to get accurate answer. If user 1 is asking the question, you do not want to give the value in the user 2's file. If user 2 is asking the same question, again, you do not want to give the wrong value. In many use cases, we may have the same names, such as John in this case, but they have different values in different files. Now let us test it out. We go to this Voiceflow web page, where we can query the knowledge base. We can use it to retrieve the answers. First, you need to add your Voiceflow API key on the header. As you can see, I have entered my API key. If you have not done yet, please do so. If we scroll down the web page, we can see the parameters we need to input, and also the response with the data chunks. We need to input the question, which is required. Let us enter, what is John's salary? You also can see the question on the right. It is real-time, and can update the input if you make any changes. It is very convenient because you can see the code. For other parameters, such as chunk limit, we can use the default value of 2. The synthesis is true, which means the answer will be synthesized using one of the default AI models. We can leave it unchanged. The settings object is optional. For the tags, we are going to click to add tag objects. We choose the include object. In the items, we add a string, which is user 1. On the right, we can see our input in the code. It has the tag and the question. Now, we are ready to run the code. Let us click the button, try it. We can see the response with the 200 code. If we scroll down, we can see the output of 75,000, which is correct, because we use the tag user 1. And the bot can look for the answer in this specifically labeled file, resulting in the correct answer. If we ask the same question, but change the tag to user 2, we should get the value of 95,000. After making the change, we can see the code on the right, which has been updated with the tag user 2. Let us try it again. Now, we see the output of 95,000, which is expected. Without tags, the chatbot will probably give wrong answers. This is fantastic. We will make more videos on how to use tags to increase accuracy in the future. Please subscribe, and you will not miss them. This wraps up today's video. We have shown you how to upload files to the knowledge base and discussed the importance of tags in order to increase the accuracy. If you like this video, please subscribe and give a thumbs up. If you have any comments and suggestions, please let us know. Thank you for your support.